You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more.
Well, Favorites, dear boy, I'm Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. Yes, indeed, it has been a busy week, but today's a special show yet indeed, because it's yet another Crusader, back-to-back Crusaders. What? Both of them got some projects out, man. Let me tell you, this man is a myth, man, and a legend right here. He is a songwriter. He is an author. He is a game designer. He is a comic creator, publisher. My God, how many hats does this man want to wear? Every time he comes on, he got something new going on, and he got this upcoming fire project. All right, we're gonna talk about it. It's called the Z-Normals. Holy shit! And it asks a very intriguing question, mi gente. Like, what if your pain could turn into powers? You know what I mean? Imagine that. Imagine that, using your pain. All I know is that 2 years ago, I probably would have then exterminated half the earth if that's the case. But then let me introduce the man that has this crazy concept. Let's get introduced to this world from the man himself, the big boss, the fellow Crusader, the musician, the everything, Mr. D.T., the Turkin, baby. What's up, brother? How you doing?
What up? I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm so happy to have you on, brother, and talk about this fantastic project that you got going on. It's going to be popping really soon, where people are going to have to make it rain. We're going to run into that real quick. Don't you worry. But before we do all that, you know me, I got to reel it back for those that may be a little bit unfamiliar. And if you are, how dare you? If you not watch this man on his channel or on Sloppy Spoilers, or when he's hanging out with us and doing his thing, you know, y'all missing a great dude. Oh, his Twitter. I mean, let me tell you, Twitter's fire. Wonderful questions, and he really likes to stir the pot over there. And I love it. A positive way. Great comic book conversation that we need. So let us know, again, just for those that just a little bit familiar, or to remind them, where you OG from, and of course, you know what I mean, a bit about your journey thus far.
I'm from the Chicagoland area.
Chi-Town in the building.
That's right. And my journey is, my father introduced me to comic books at the age of 4. So I learned to read off of 3 things. I learned to read off of newspapers, comic books, and the Bible. And I still love all 3 to this day. And my father looked at me one day and said, "This is what I expect from you from now on."
Okay.
So I said, "Okay, no pressure or anything." So
that's pop.
Right. So I am a lifer. I'm in this thing for life. I've loved comics since I was little. I understand the powers of superheroes. I understand the impact on the culture. I understand the power of storytelling. And I just want to share my love for that with all generations. It's one of the few genres of content that can always be multi-generational. Very few things. Some are, but that's more so the exception, not the rule. But superheroes and comic books, everybody in the family can love them.
Agreed. Again, because that's how I got my little one, my daughter, into it. And while, you know, as a little kid, I had annoying all the superheroes, but her fandom is this little guy right here. Sorry. Reminder of her. Yeah, always. I keep that on my desk. Big shout out to Ali Mega. That's what I'm going to call her, to protect her.
It's nothing like being a girl dad. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, I'm happy, and she is super geek, and I dig that. So anyway, so all right, so you come to be creative. You had several projects out already, you know, right? So talk about those last several projects a bit before we get into this one. I'm definitely gonna have some questions, you know, of lessons learned. Okay. So before we get to the lessons, let's talk about some previous projects for people to know, because I'm pretty sure they could check it out at that website too, right there, right?
Right. Yes, at my main website. Yeah. Okay. So in terms of my most recent projects, I write novels, I write comic books, and I write children's books. So one of my latest children's books has been an alphabet series where I teach ABCs with different topics. One of the most popular books is My Alphabet is Super, and I use superpowers to teach ABCs.
Oh, cool.
So, you know, like S is for speed, you know, that kind of thing. I is for invulnerable. T is for teleportation, and we have little images. So that people love that one. So when I go to conventions, that's always the one I sell the most. That one and one called My Alphabet is Musical. I use musical terms to teach ABCs. Nobody does that. So P is for pianissimo, F is for forte. And they're like, well, David, will people understand that? I'm like, kids always rise to whatever level you talk to them at. So the more you talk to your children and the more you introduce vocabulary to them, they will rise to what you say. So if you just Google Gaga for 5 years, that's what they're going to say.
Absolutely.
And if you speak and that kind of stuff. So I have that going on. And then my fantasy novel that went to #1 on Amazon is Lucifer, Soldier, Serpents, and Sin. And I talk about how War in Heaven got started. Because it started with an idea. I thought about the first time the devil saw himself in a reflected surface. And so the first time he saw himself in the Garden of Eden, looking over into a pond or a river, you went from being, because the name Lucifer means light bearer, you went from being this luminous being in the heavenly realm to this twisted, ugly, gnarly, dragon, beastly thing.
Yeah.
How did that happen? How do you talk angels into leaving heaven? And then how did we get involved? And so then I just started writing. It started off as a short story. Then I kept writing, turned into a novel. Now it's a series. I'm working on getting I had the second one done last year, but had technical difficulties. So I'm working on getting that second one out. And like I said, that one actually #1 in 3 countries for me on Amazon.
How does that feel, Dave? I mean, you doing a story like that to be #1? How does that feel?
It felt great. When you experience things, at least for me, you can't process it all in the moment.
Yeah.
It takes some time because you will never fully understand the impact of your life. So the last convention I went to, I was in the lobby and somebody said, David Taylor, and I stopped. I said, yes. And he said, you don't know me, but I'm on your mailing list and I heard you was going to be here. So I wanted to come meet you in person. I was like, wow. And then I had a woman come up to me and said, David, I bought all your alphabet books and they're my grandchild's favorite books. We read them every night. I was like, wow. So, I mean, so you don't know. So that's why I always encourage creators, just get your content out there. Okay, just put it out there. There's someone that needs to hear your voice. And you are never going to know the full impact of that. But so it feels great. I'm glad to be doing what I'm doing. My big sister saw a video and she said, that's happiness on my brother's face. So you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
You got the seal of approval right there in the business. I love it.
That's right.
All right. So in this journey, doing your thing, because I know you're also a lover of music, right? And mentioning that book. I mean, how do you balance your love of music, your love of geekdom? How do you put them and bond them together in the example of the alphabet book?
Okay. Well, the answer to your question is, like anything else, you have to give up something. And so if you want to accomplish anything, you've got to give up something. And the greater you want the accomplishment to be, the greater the sacrifice. That's the way life itself works. And that's why a lot of people never get to where they want to go, because they don't understand. You got to sacrifice something. You got to give up something. And so I realized I had to give up some sleep. and I realized I had to focus on one project at a time, because like most creators, I'm always multitasking, but can't be as effective. And so I have practice time when I sit down with my piano, and I have writing time, and then I have studio time when I sit down in my studio. And so what I had to do was learn how to use all 24 of my hours. Okay. So when you're a creative person, we are not built for that 9 to 5 thing. That is not our vibe or our energy. So you have to use all 24 of your hours, sleep when you can, focus on what you're doing. And so in terms of my musical development, I went to school for that too. And it's just always in my head. It's always in my fingers. It's always something I'm doing. I'm singing something all the time. And so I've had to learn how to carve time out of my day to focus on that particular energy and get that down, and then focus on the next thing. And it's not easy, but it's worth it.
Excellent. Yeah, now talk to me about lessons learned in these journeys. Because again, you've had projects out and whatnot right before this one. This one's gonna pop. Because again, just the question alone is intriguing. I know people are gonna be hooked on this idea. If folks ask me, I have 2 images. I'm gonna show you the pre-launch page and all that goodie. But are you guys anxious to see the link? Is that it? Go ahead. That's the link right there. Right? Get anxious. Start clicking away before we start talking about it. And if you guys happen to have any questions at all, now is the time to start asking them. All right. So, and you know what? Let me leave that there a little bit right there and show that love. So, talk about these lessons learned before you did this project. Anything you've learned in particular in the journey thus far, especially the creative journey.
Well, I really think I'm going to create some literature and create some classes around it because I do want to teach others based on what I've learned. But just to be succinct in terms of some of the lessons I've learned, one of the first lessons I've learned is you have to get over yourself. A lot of artists don't get to where they want to get in life because you got to get over yourself. And what I mean by that is that has several applications. One application is when you're creating, you must turn the faucet on and let the creativity flow. Do not judge it while you're creating. That's a huge mistake. Turn the spigot on and let the water flow. Whatever ideas are coming out, let them flow. If you're judging while you're creating, you are never going to give birth to what you want. Lesson number one. Second lesson I learned was after you do that, after you have the creative flow, after you get your ideas down in your phone, on an app, on a piece of notebook paper, whatever you use, then you have to go back through and sift through to find the gold. Because every idea is not gold. You will love every idea because it's your child, because it's your baby. But every idea isn't a goal. And that's why you have to apply lesson number one, you got to get past yourself. Because how many times have we seen, and every creator does it, how many times have we seen you're all hyped about something, blah, 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 and then maybe you don't hit like you want, or maybe people don't respond like you want. Maybe it wasn't what you thought it was. That's because you didn't get it right at the premise line. The reason that Jurassic Park is such a hit is because of the premise. You put 2 evolutionary giants in the same arena, humans and dinosaurs. That's incredible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's right at the premise. The premise is right. But when you didn't go back and sift through your ideas, and then you didn't, sift through to find out the goal, and some stuff you have to let go of. And what I like to do is I like to incorporate ideas that were maybe B or C ideas into an A idea. So in other words, that B or C idea can't be the crux of the story, but I'm going to weave it into a better premise so I can still express it.
Oh, wonderful.
And all that takes you, you got to get past yourself. So that's lesson number 2. Another lesson is all your life you've been taught to accept the system and question yourself. That's exactly backwards. You're supposed to accept yourself and question the system.
Ooh, preach.
And that's why I love to talk to creative people, because everywhere I go, I tell every creative person, you are not crazy. There's nothing wrong with you. You are designed to function a certain way. For example, we have antenna built in, and what we do is we take the energy of life and we transmute it into art. Now, the art itself is your particular medium. So whether that's dance, whether that's charcoals, whether that's poetry, singing, that's the medium.
Whatever it is.
But you are wired to pick up on the energy of life, and that antenna is up while you sleep. So that's why so many ideas come to you. You wake up 2:30 in the morning, you're like, hey, because that antenna is always on. That's your life if you're a creative. And so you are not going to fit into a 9-to-5 slot no matter how hard you try. That's why creative people say I had to do something to get my career off, but once everything took off, I'm able to give myself full time. And so there's nothing wrong with you. You can't let non-creatives tell you that there's something wrong with that, because there's nothing wrong with that. That is exactly who we're supposed to be. But you also have to be sure you surround yourself around people that get you. And that's one thing I want to say about Al. The first time I met Al, I knew instantly that he understood creative people. Instantly, it took me 5 minutes to see that this man understands the the creative flow, the creative juice, the creative energy. And he has created an environment with all of the stuff he does to help us become our best selves. And you got to connect with somebody like that, somebody that gets you. Otherwise, they're going to be trying to squeeze you into a frame you ain't going to fit in.
Yep.
You gotta have friends like that. You gotta have business partners like that. You gotta marry somebody like that. You gotta teach your kids that, because that is your vibe in life. And sometimes, just like if you know the story of how Handel wrote the Messiah, Handel was down and out. He had not written any good music, and they told him, "You better produce next time, or else." And his career was going to be over. So that man went on a fast until he saw God and wrote the Messiah. He fasted until he got a vision and wrote the Messiah that we still sing to this day. And he was hungry and he was doing a whole bunch of stuff, but he was like, "I got to do it." So he had to dig deep. So I'm saying that is normal for creatives. That is normal. And if you think about it, our lives are like giving birth. You get impregnated with an idea. The idea gestates inside of you. Then it gets so big inside of you until you can't contain it anymore. And then you have to push it out. That is what our lives are like. And that is normal for us.
Yeah.
So that's what I always, because people get so down on themselves, or they start and they stop, or they say, "What's wrong with me?" And nothing wrong with you. Okay. You're just pregnant and need to give birth. That's all. So you need to clear the womb. So you go into labor and delivery. So
love it, man. Well, what a wonderful analogy it is too. I mean, every idea is like giving birth. So just make it. I mean, the Comic Crusaders is an idea that's been lasting for a long time. Thank God, and I have great people like Dave that I've met along my journey. So it goes right back at you, because it's folks like you that keep me inspired. To keep doing what I'm doing and help as many people as we can. I may not be the biggest, but I'm definitely hoping making an impact, because if I make people happy and I make them feel good, guess what? I won the day. So,
remember, oak tree starts out as a seed, little acorn. You don't know the impact. Okay, you don't. All the days ain't in yet, so you can't count a day a bad day until all the days are in.
Yeah, for real, man. Now, let's start talking about some days, man, because you had this book that's popping. That's going to be popping real soon on Kickstarter. When you ask the question, what if you could turn pain into powers? And the book is called The Z-Normalsand. I got two images I want to share with you. Let me put this first one. First, I got a postcard. Here we go. Take a look at that. So where it asks the question, based on the background right there. Look at these characters. So Dave, talk to me about the idea behind Z-Normals before you introduce us to the cast.
Okay. The term Z-Normals is a statistical term, and it has to do with measuring everything against the median and seeing how far the deviations go. So the reason I call them Z-Normals was I was like, if society has told you that you have a challenge, or if you have an obvious challenge, what does that mean? Is that normal? How far can you go? And then I took it to the next level and say, what if that gets empowered with a metahuman ability? What if the very thing that has maybe plagued you or weighed you down gets turned into a super enhancement? What would you do with that? And then I took it to the next level and I said, and what if the people that did that for you was the mafia?
Oh.
See, that's a look I get every time I say that. I get that look. Everybody's like, "What?" And so I was like, there's so much inherent good storytelling in those concepts. So all your life, society might have told you, because you have this disease, or because you have a circumstance of birth, like one of the characters are conjoined twins. So what if you come out the womb, but you're sealed next to your twin for your whole life? What does that mean for you? Because you have to think differently. You have to think different because you're never alone. And so how would that affect you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So like,
never. it kind of kills me, Dave. It's true. As a comes into, you're never alone. You can't take a pistol alone. You can't take a shit alone. You can't even, you know what I mean? If you got to roll one out, you can't even do that.
Can't make love alone. Can't talk sweet to your honey. Can't do nothing without your twin there if you're conjoined.
But how did you come up with that? What movie did you watch, man? Because just to think on those terms, that's kind of crazy, bro.
Because how can I say it? I discovered that culture and media tends to paint people in very broad brushes. And ever since I was a little boy, that has confused me. So people say, well, you're Black. What does that mean? That don't mean what you think it means. Because I'm me. My Blackness is a part of me, but I'm me. And then also I have Native American in my family. So I'm like, I claim all my heritages.
Yeah, so, that's right.
So people would just say, well, you're a teenager, or well, you're old, or well, you're Black, or well, you're and I'm like, the human soul is much more complex than that. And so I've always been that way. And I've never understood these big broad brush strokes, because it's the racial thing, the you people. When they talk about you people, whenever it's that, it's always one represents all. So as Black men, if Barack Obama did it, if Chris Rock did it, if LeBron James did it, if Flavor Flav did it, it's like I did it. Yeah. And people are going to talk to me because and I've never understood that, but it's because when you don't get socialized to be an individual, when you get lumped together with and it's not even your group, it's what people think of your group.
Yeah.
Because it may not be true, it may have some truth in it, but that kind of thing. And so ever since I was little, that has both amazed and confused me, because the human soul is more complex than that. So then that's always been my vibe. And then I thought about, what about next level stuff if you have a challenge? Because if you have a challenge, then people are going to separate you even further. And what we also, because I'm a teacher, so I've been working with students for years, and I've taught people of all ages. And one thing I learned both when I was a kid and in teaching kids was that every child needs the special attention, not just the trouble kids or not just whatever. I just don't agree with that. If your kids are doing well, they need encouragement.
Absolutely. You keep them doing well.
Yeah, right. Because many times the focus is on where you want to deal with the trouble kids, but like, no, your so-called smart kids, they need encouragement too. And so I have just never been that person that thinks that people can be waved away with a broad brush. And so I took it to the next level. I said, so what if you got a challenge and then society isolates you on an even bigger level? And so for people, most of that will be physical. Some of it can be mental, but mental and emotional scars you don't see until they manifest. So you can't really look at somebody and tell that has to manifest. But physical challenges, you can see them, and then people just put you in a slot. And I said, so what does that do to you psychologically? And so what if an organization like the Mafia comes to you and says, we're going to take that thing that's made you an outcast and we're going to make it super. We're going to lift you above that. How would you respond to that?
Mm.
And so that's how all that kind of came together in my head.
Sick stuff, bro. I fucking love it, bro. This man is sick, actually. Sick in a good way. So, introduce me then to the characters and the cast here of the world of the Xeno. Who are these folks that we're seeing right here on the screen right now?
Okay. At the bottom is Biotech. And Biotech is in a wheelchair, but his power is when he gets powered up, he can walk and he's mobile and he can turn his wheelchair into weapons.
Oh, shit. Well, okay.
Yeah. And I'm not going to spoil anything because there's 10 times more than what I'm saying. So you got to read the book. Okay. Next, you will see her name is Crimson Cancer. And when she's powered up, she can actually throw cancer onto other things.
Oh shit! Oh, that's crazy.
Both organic and inorganic. So like dissolving a box or something like that. Behind her, you see one half of the twins, and the name of the twins together are division, not division, division, because they are conjoined twins, conjoined at the hand.
Oh
When they
shit!
get powered up, they separate and they get vision powers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
over to the right, you see Hal. His name is Hal. Lycanthropy. And so, what do you do when you have bloodlust? What do you do when you have heightened senses like an animal and you're sharing your existence? And sometimes you're a man and sometimes you're a wolf.
Yeah.
So, what does that do to you? And so,
I'm already thinking that character. He shares the same fur as I do, white. You know what I mean?
So each one of them has, like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything because there's 10 times more to it than what I'm saying. So I'm just giving you a slight intro. And so each one of them right now, there is Crimson Cancer throwing some cancer on some dudes chasing her. Look at that.
Yo, that looks crazy. So you're telling me when she throws it on you, unlike traditional cancers, that accelerated?
That's right.
Ooh, shit, that's foul.
That's right.
A crazy power, bro. That's basically death, bro. She's death.
Is she what?
She's death, essentially. No?
She's what?
She's death.
Oh, no, she's not death.
I mean, with a cancer like that, but you're accelerating and killing your members that quick. Shit, that's death to me. That scares the shit out of me. I ain't playing with her, boy. Hell no. I mean, and let's show off the Kickstarter too, folks. Listen, it's ready on that pre-launch. You see the link right there in the corner. ink.plus/Z-normals, all right?
Shout out to Ink Studios. Shout out to Kevin.
Yeah, big shout out to Kevin G. Guillot. There we go. Ink Studios. Listen, folks. It's true. Like, if you guys need some help with any project, let me say this is a full house studio. So you can check out the Ink Studios website at ink.marketing. You know, the email solution. You can email them at solutions@ink.marketing. And as soon as you send them an email there, they're going to send you a solutions guide. It's going to show you all their services, examples of campaigns, animations. Yes, animations, and even testimonials. They've helped a lot of creators. So a big shout out to Kevin G and the whole crew over there at Ink. But now, you know, enough about that. It's about this. It's about my man DT and this dope project, the Z-Normals, issue number 1. That's going to be, listen, that shit gets me nervous. Coming soon. What do you mean coming soon? How soon? When is it drop?
Tonight. Actually, about 3 hours from now.
So oh my God! So this is kind of a pre-party, a little pre-party here. We having.
That's right. That's right. So about 3 hours from now, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time is going to go live.
Well, folks, you hear this? You better make it rain on the project. Listen, it's right there in the corner. I mean, it's going to go live. It's a beautiful project. I mean, and check this out. He's had 2 projects created thus far, right? He's backed over 35 campaigns of his own, so showing love to indie. You know what I mean? So he's not just a creator; he's a supporter. So, you know, show that love back, community. You know, so amazing creators like this. So, what's the plan? Because I see you say Z-Normals issue number 1. What is the plan for the franchise here? I mean, is it a ongoing? Is it a limited series? What are we doing here?
It's going to be ongoing because I have a lot of stories to tell. Hopefully, when I get to a certain number of issues, we can start making trade paperbacks or graphic novels, collecting multiple issues in one. But it's going to be ongoing because I have a lot of story to tell. I have a lot of story to tell with this crew. So you're definitely going to have to keep up because things are going to unfold as we go.
So talk to me about building the team and Nucleus and all this. What's Nucleus? What's the team that you built behind this, baby? You know, let's celebrate them. Talk about that.
Okay. Well, my tagline for my company is Nucleus Comics, where comics are born. So the idea behind it was you will always get to a point, and you know this, you will always get to a point as a creator. If you're truly a creator, you always get to a point where you really need to tell the stories you need to tell, and you need to tell them the way you need to tell them. And so I hit that point and I said, I'm really going to have to get these stories out of me. So I need to create a comics company that'll give me that freedom, because as everybody knows, when you pitch, then people are going to accept and reject your pitch based on what they think. I discovered a long time ago that doesn't mean that your stuff isn't quality. It might mean they didn't like it. It might mean that they don't see the vision. It might mean a whole bunch of things, but it doesn't mean it's bad. So I was like, instead of spending your time and energy in pitching, why don't I create a company where I can just tell the stories like I want to tell them? So there's that. And then in terms of the team for this book, that cover, that image you see behind me is by Amon K. Newell-Pond of DC Comics fame.
Oh, damn.
And, he's done Green Lantern. He's a Supergirl. That's why that cover is so banging, man. He's so good. He's so good. So got him to do that cover. So that's like our main cover. But we also have alternative covers. I have another cover by David Yukovich, an incredible artist. So that's why we have different cover options. That's coming up. And then I got Eduardo Mena to do the illustrations on the inside, and he's extraordinarily good. And as soon as I showed people just some of his pencils, everybody was like, wow. And then I got somebody who works with, Adriano Augusto, to do the colors. And then I've worked with a bunch of different letterers. Right now I'm working with Hector Negrit. I love Hector, man. He's the kind of, how can I put this? He takes his craft so seriously. He gives me options about how do you want the word balloons to look.
Oh, nice.
This is what to use these kind of things. So it's not just like the same thing every time. And like in one of my other books, I have a robot talking. So whenever the robots are talking, that's got to be a different balloon.
Yeah.
Some of them are different colors. So he's that guy.
Nice.
So he gets lettering on that level. So I'm so happy about the team I put together to bring this book to life. And then I've also done some other stuff. Some stuff that's going to be some add-ons, and there's some music involved. One thing I can say is that when you click on the video, when I'm introducing the theme, there's a theme song that plays. So I wrote the theme song.
Awesome.
So I'm super excited about that. I wrote it and produced it, made it in my own little studio.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this, bro. Oh, shit.
Super excited about that. And then there's a logo, a Nucleus Comics logo. I had somebody else animate it, but I came up with the logo. So I've been working on all cylinders. I've been trying to use my visual arts. I've been trying to use my writing arts. I've been trying to use my music arts. But then you've got to get with people that get that can help bring to life, because drawing is time consuming. So if I had to draw everything, Lord have mercy. So I'm happy to be able to, hire artists, because I started out drawing my own books when I was little.
Yeah.
But drawing is time consuming.
Absolutely is.
So I put that together.
You got to wear multiple hats, in building the business and building the book and pushing the Kickstarter. Folks don't understand that being an independent creator, Of course, you have a studio like Ink that's helping you and folks there, but nonetheless, you still got to do your part as the creator, because it takes the village and yourself as chief.
That's right. And then also I'm meticulous and I'm detailed. And so also you got to give yourself time to go back through, sit back through what you've done and make sure everything's kind of lining up the way you want it.
Yeah.
And then, so in terms of the marketing for the Kickstarter, like I said, Kevin and Ink Studios has been incredible, and they've done so much work behind the scenes, and there's still so much more to come. And then, you have to get your legal team together. You got to make sure all that stuff is together. And so when you're an entrepreneur, the whole key to being an entrepreneur is you have to understand every area of your business. But the key to being an entrepreneur is to, get yourself in a position where you can stay in your strength.
Yes.
So I'm the idea guy. So I need teams to execute the other stuff so I can create. But like everybody knows, when you first start, you got to do all of it. You got to do the accounting. You got to answer the emails. You got to answer the phone. You got to do all that. You got to build the network. You got to go to the conventions. You have to create the content. You have to mark. You have to do all of that.
You have to hold the camera. You got to do the interviews. You got to, do the spiel just about everywhere. Yeah. You know what? It's all, again, that's part of the fun in building the business. And then I think that the greatest problem that most entrepreneurs have is in the delegation of responsibilities once they reach the point of like, okay, I can let some things go, but then you're so used to doing everything, it's hard to let go. So can you talk about that? Or were you always prepared to say, I know what I can't do and I'm just ready to like hand this shit out? Or did it take you a moment to say, fuck, I can't do this. I have to give this up to someone else?
No, it took me a while to get to that point because I got to that point because I started running out of time and energy. So I said, I've only got so much time and so much energy. And then I had to, that's why I said the first lesson is you got to get over yourself. You can't do it all yourself. It's not possible. And there's no shame in that. That doesn't mean, I told you, my father was my hero. My father had built 2 restaurants, and he also built a beauty and barber supply. I was with him for that last one. And so when he started that business, that was the last business he built before he died, and I started it with him. And so I watched my dad work 12 hours a day, 6 days a week without complaining. So that's the way I grew up. So when you have that kind of work ethic, you can work, but then you're going to get to the point where you realize, and then also that thing you said, most entrepreneurs have to fall down and mess it up and then say, okay, this is not my area of expertise. You got to try it, and then it blows up in your face, and until eventually you say, okay, you know what? I'm going to have to job this out. I had to get there too, because I noticed that when I'm in the creative mode, it's where I have my most energy. But there are 2 mountains. There's creating the content and marketing the content.
Oh yeah, 2 different fucking worlds.
And you got to put the same amount of effort into marketing the content as you're creating content. And most people aren't good at both. And so, like other entrepreneurs, I had to try and fail and be like, you know what? I'm going to have to hire some people. And then, like I remember when I was doing some videos for my channel, I noticed how time consuming it was to edit those videos and get them out on time. So then I had to start hiring editors. And you got to work with people to make sure your vision is the same and all that. And so I had to go through that process and understand, okay, David, you're not good at this. This is not your vibe. This is not how you think.
This is not your lane, kiddo.
This is not how your flow happens. So you need to stay over there where you're good at that. Do something you're good at. And then hire someone and let them do what they're good at. So I had to grow to that point. And then, you have to generate income. You got to work. You got to raise money. You got to do something because you got to pay them. People can't do that for free. And then the other thing, like we'll just take something like social media. Each social media platform, you need a PhD for each platform. Each one of them is different.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I'll tell you this much. I love that you said that. I'm going to show you. I'm going to give you a perfect example. Facebook, I wasn't doing too well. All of a sudden, I got into a creator program. It blew up, right? But before that, Twitter was my number 1. Here comes Elon and buys it. Now, before Elon, I was doing an easy 3 million, 3.5, 3.7 million impressions a month. Apparently, that's what you need to get monetized on X, right? Mm-hmm. But when he took over, I don't know what the fuck changed in the algorithm, my brother. I'm lucky if I get 200,000 impressions a month.
Wow.
From that 3 that I documented, I could show people, like, I'm not bullshitting you guys. Like, what the fuck happened? So, yeah, as the creator, content person, again, I don't charge people for pods, ad space on my website or not. Let YouTube and Google, whatever other platforms pay me for that. Because again, when I say that I'm here for indie, I actually fucking mean it. I think I mentioned it to my team once, and David was there, where I found out how some platforms were asking for monetary content, physical product, in order for them to promote you. Like, who the fuck are they at the end of the day to treat creators like this? Like, yo, they're already struggling enough. Didn't you make your platform to help them? So it's like, how dare you even be like that? I do shit for free. If you want to give me a book, I always kind of say no. You want to give me something, give it to me in digital. Because I always tell them, I think a lot of creators could testify. My answer when they want to give me a book is, I prefer you sell that book. You know what I mean? Give me a video if you want to give me something. I appreciate the gesture. But, it means I don't want you to lose in that physical product. I do understand the journey of being independent. As myself being independent, Comic Crew is not owned by anyone. Go to any other fucking website, and guess what, guys? They're owned by a bigger, major media conglomerate. So skewed opinions and skewed topics, no real talk. So yeah, keep watching those other websites, no problem. Anyway.
So that's what I mean by coming to a point where telling your stories the way you need to tell them.
Yeah,
but
baby.
I mean, the way I work, if I were to describe my workflow, I'm a sculptor.
Oh.
So I have the rock in front of me, and I see the sculpture in it, but I have to keep walking around it and chipping away at it. So it doesn't come all at once. I got to walk around and look, walk around and look. That takes time and that takes focus. And so little by little, so when I'm writing a line, I'm like, can I say that better? And it's like, with the character I have saying that, would they say that? Is that consistent with their voice?
Do you act out your lines?
Huh?
Do you act out your own lines? Do you do kind of the Stan Lee thing when you write something? Let me hear this out loud. Do you act out yourself in front of a mirror? Be honest.
Sometimes I have to say it out loud. But most of the time I'm wrestling with it in my head. And so that's what I mean when I say that you have to understand your own process. Yes. So like when you're doing social media, each one, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, they're all different. And so even if you have a presence on each one, you're going to have to focus on the ones that you're good at. And I'm good at having conversations. It's why, Twitter has blown up for me. And, talking about, the comic conversations that I love and talking to my people, because when you're around fellow geeks, I say all the time that Twitter is like the Comic-Con that never ends. So,
it is. I like that.
Yeah. So I'm saying
when you do the right thing, we kind of need to also mention that, because again, I hate that people complain about platforms like, it's negative. No, it's negative because you're clicking on that shit. So that means like, you don't want to be seeing negative shit. Don't click on negative shit. And guess what happened? Click on everything you love, and I promise you, your algorithm will be all gravy. Click on David shit, and all you're gonna get is comic stuff. All right. It's on you. It's not on the platform. It is on you. The algorithm follows you. The platform doesn't follow. It's the algorithm. Please understand it. That shit is his own life. I'll tell you that much. So think about it on those terms, and they will follow what you. So you want to be positive, like tune into stuff like my man David, and a big rest in peace to Chris Buse, because Chris was doing exactly kind of what David does, then opening conversation with comic book fans, showing beautiful art, questions, and and it becomes you learn. I will go through any one of his streams and I'm like, oh shit, I was today years old when I found out. And I love that, Dave. So keep being that positive, and this is why I'm happy about you sharing your vision with us in the Z-Normals like you've done in the past. But I mean, I can see that you have a different energy here on this, bro. This is something about it. You're coming here with a different. This is a different David Taylor that's coming at me when he's talking about Nucleus and Z-Normals, and I'm feeling that energy, man. This is what's fun. I feel like, go around. Like, ooh, brother, let's go. Oof. Let's go.
Well, see, I want to do it full time. I've watched, Air July lead the way, and when you get the resources that you need, then you can do it full time. And like I said, some of the characters that I have, I created them when I was like 5.
Oh wow, really?
And so my first book, Nephilim Wars, I pitched that to some people, and they were like, no. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do it myself. So I did. So I'm saying that, I've had stories to tell, and I want to get them out and all that, and I can't wait to get them out. But I want to do it full time. So you need resources to do that, and you need to hire people because as you know, as an entrepreneur, every area is a full-time job. That's another thing that a lot of people don't get. It don't matter what you're talking about. Even you're talking about even answering the phone. Because when we call companies and they give us press 1 for this, press 2 for this, dial by directory, I'm like, if I knew the name of the people, I wouldn't be talking to you. So, so even something as simple as that has an impact on how people relate to your company. And so everything is a full-time job. So it's not possible for one person to do all that. So you need the resources to hire people to do that. And I want to do it well because, like I said, when I'm creating something, I have to walk around. I got to look at it. And so Nucleus Comics for me is giving birth to these heroes that I've created, these heroes, these stories that I wanted to tell. And I just want to, like I said, watching the explosion in mini market and watching people get enough resources to be able to jump into it full time. Because, like I told you, I have been on 24-hour mode for the last couple of weeks, just getting all the stuff together for this campaign, because we got so much packed into this campaign.
Can't wait.
Coming out as we go. And like I said, I used all my hats. I used my hat. I used my music hat. I used my artistic hat. I used my director hat.
Listen, folks, he used every hat. He changed hats so many times he lost his hair.
So and editing videos and making sure because again, I don't have to tell you everything. Lighting means something. What mic you're using, mic positioning means something. And I tend to move when I talk. So when you move when you talk, I'm not really stationary. When you move when you talk, you have to have a mic for that. Every little thing makes a difference. If you wear white on camera, white's not good on camera. Darker colors are better, that kind of thing. And so if you don't do that, then people—
Wait a minute, what are you saying about my beard?
If you don't do stuff like that, then people don't really know. Like one of my cousins is a news anchor.
Okay.
And I asked him about what that's like. And he said, well, my day starts at 3 o'clock in the morning. And he said, it's my job to deliver news without bias. So he says that what I care about a story doesn't matter. He said, I have to give the facts. And so I have to be sure that I'm like, wow. I mean, because I can't deliver nothing like that. Whatever I deliver is going to be with passion. You're going to know how I feel about it, because that's the only way I know.
I get a motherfucking rain today.
So yeah, and when I'm creating a character, I have backstories on all my characters. So I never just have a character. So I know who they are, where they come from, what their challenges are, where they're going, what I want to do with them, that kind of thing. And it takes time to create that. And if you notice, the best actors do that too. The best actors, when they get a character, if the script doesn't give them a backstory, then make up one. Because you have to learn how to draw, because your past influences your present, influences your future. And so you must understand that as a person, and you must understand that as a character. Sometimes when you meet people, you don't understand why they react to life the way they do. Well, you have to let them tell you their story. Once they begin to tell you their story, you'll see why they react to life the way they do. Like some people come from families where mom and dad insisted we have one meal together. So that's breakfast or dinner. And it didn't matter what you were doing, you have to stop, come sit together at the table as a family. Some people come from that background. Some people had their meals on the run.
I gave him a massage. There you go. Look at this guy.
Not the glazed honey bun.
Apparently, I'm giving people massages. The wrong hour, motherfucker.
Is that the wrong hour? Yeah. So I'm saying that just like that's true for you, when you meet people, all you meet is the larger concentric circles. You meet the surface parts of them. It's when you drill down and get to know people, then you begin to understand motivations and experiences and history. And so if you understand that about people, you must understand that about characters, because it's the same thing. It doesn't have, like, for example, when people say something foolish, like Superman is hard to write, I'm like, no, you just don't get it. Superman's not hard to write at all. Well, he doesn't have any weaknesses. I'm like, he's got a ton of weaknesses. One of the biggest weaknesses Superman has is the same weakness Martian Manhunter has, which is survivor's guilt. The voices of a planet dying and you survived because baby Kal-El lifted off in the destruction of his home world.
Yeah.
And when he's in the fortress, all the voices come back to him because the only other Kryptonian he knows is Kara. Okay, and Mon-El's a Daxamite, and Daxamites were an offshoot of Kryptonians. And so there's a loneliness that comes with being Superman that can't be articulated, which is why him and Wonder Woman always end up together.
Yeah.
Because they're always the last two people standing. And who can relate? You can't relate to being an eternal Amazonian princess unless you're a superpowered being from another planet. So,
and he ages slowly, not that he's immortal, but he will age slower here. So it gives him and Wonder Woman a lot more time than her typical human being, more so than a Steve, for example, right?
That's right. Well, Grant Morrison said Superman stories are regular stories on a larger scale. When you walk your dog, you go to the corner. When you watch Crypto, he goes to Mars. It's the same story on a different scale. So, you know, Superman's got more than kryptonite. He's got Red Sun. He's got his love for Lois. He's got his guilt over his dead parents, you know, and also when he had to face the lesson of as many powers as he had, he couldn't save his father. That Superman, no matter who he is still a man. And so even with his enhanced abilities, he couldn't stop death. And so there's just so much more to him. So when people say things like he's hard to write or he didn't have any reason, I'm like, no, you just don't understand him as a character. And so that's what I mean when I say when you are a writer, each character you create and write about, you must understand the backstory. You must understand what they're coming from and what it is that's motivating them to act the way they act. And when you begin to understand that context, that's what makes your audience care. That's what makes your like Luke Skywalker, we got to see his arc. We got to see that he grew up always looking to the stars. We got to see his aunt and uncle get killed. We got to see him know that he was meant for something more. And then as the story developed, we found out it is way bigger than what he thought.
Yeah.
And so we went on that journey with him. And that's why Star Wars is still so endearing. So that's what I mean when I say that's your job as a writer to do that. And that takes time. So I need time to do that. So I don't create two-dimensional characters. So I create three-dimensional ones that have a story, that have a history, that have a heart, that have a reason that they do what they do. And all my characters in Z-Normals, as you read the book, you're going to find out.
There we go.
What's driving them, why they do what they do. And none of it is what you thought. So I'm not going to spoil anything. All I'm going to say is it ain't what you thought.
All right. So last couple of questions before we go. So, you know, obviously there's the team book. Are we going to have spin-offs of individual arcs, or will those stories kind of be told within the pages of the main story?
Ideally, I would like to do both. Okay. So I have some stories with the characters that the more I thought about it, the more I thought about what you said, that it needs to be maybe a companion book or its own limited series to kind of see the backstory. So ideally, I like to do both. But again, I got to have the time and the resources to do that.
Of course.
So yeah, so that's what I'm trying to. Like I said, we saw Air July lead the way. We saw his campaign, you know, raise millions, take him to another level. We saw him get the freedom he needed to create what he's doing. And so I want the financial freedom and the backing I need to create, because I want to put good stories into the world. I'm team good stories. I have loved superheroes and comics my whole life. I want to share that love with other people, and I want to do it well. That takes resources.
Yes.
And so that's what my goal is. That's what I want to do.
Fantastic. Now, I know you're creative. You have some projects, and even with this baby coming out, are you doing any con appearances for the rest of the year, or anything planned going into next year?
Yeah, I think I'm going to WindyCon in November, and then there's ICON in Iowa next month. What I've had to do with my schedule is, because there's a lot of promotion I'm going to be doing for this, between now and then. So I have to see if I can, make the cons I'd like to make. So WindyCon and Icon is on the radar. I definitely want to do those. Excuse me. And then there's a whole new circuit and stuff I found out about. I definitely want to do those, but
excellent.
I got to make sure this launch goes well, and I got to make sure I'm keeping up with everything, because like I said, there's so much. See, I do not see myself as separate from fans. I am one of them. So you can tell when people are creating content and they're not really fans of it. You can tell when it's just content. It's different, but I am not separate from fans. I'm one of them. So when I create this stuff, I always think about it like a fan. So I put so much stuff into this. You'll see when the campaign's out, there's so many extra things, so many cool things that I would love if I was a fan. So I poured that into this. So I want to be sure that those are going in, the way they need to go. And so, but yeah, so like I said, I'm going to try to do maybe at least 2 more before the end of the year if I can.
Okay, bet. There we go. And now you've been giving us advice and all. Just let them know again, when does this baby drop? Give us the date and time that this baby is dropping so they could make it rain, baby. And for how long is the campaign?
Okay. It drops today. Friday, November 27, 2024. And it drops in 2 hours and 45 minutes at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. The campaign will run, I think we got it slotted for maybe like 45 days.
Okay.
So it's going to run through Halloween. And like I said, as many personal appearances as I can make, but I want to be sure that everything is going right with the campaign and we're getting out to fans everything, that we promise. And but yeah, dropping a day. And I'm going to do a live stream on my YouTube channels when it drops. And
I'm tuning in tonight. I'll give you some weapons in person. Don't you worry.
I'm so excited, Al. That's the energy you're feeling, man. I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited. And
I'm excited for you, man, to see a fellow Crusader, yet another one doing projects. I mean, just about all my creators drop stuff on the team, all my writers and my mental health support teammates and fellow geeks that we have geek conversation, whether it's movies, comics, sports, or whatever. I couldn't ask for a better group of people, and like David, thank you for being part of my life. Thank you for being a Crusader, always chiming in, always making us smile and laugh and think about good stuff. You rock. And let me tell you, I met this man finally in person this year at Chicago Comic-Con during the Heroic Awards. A pleasure. And I definitely got to go back because he was showing me some spots that unfortunately it was late at night. We couldn't really hang out. I got to go back, bro. I got to take those offers up, check out some music tour, treat you some good food, and let's go check out Chi-Town. And we got to fight off some immigrants. That's what we got to do.
You haven't been to Chi-Town unless you can have some pizza from Chi-Town. Now you got to get Chi-Town pizza.
Okay, you got to take me to the other spot because I went to one spot. Let me tell you, I had to tread carefully as a New Yorker on my commentary.
I understand.
Very careful. I said, oh my God, I'm outnumbered. Let me. Please don't ask me if it's better. I'm not. I'm in Mass right now, so I'm safe. So yeah, New York is still better.
Hey, we got thin crust, we got deep dish, we got.
I want to try your thin crust. That's the determining factor for me. I have not tried your thin crust. So if your thin crust could equate to New York or surpass, then I'll take off my Brooklyn hat right here. This is not Boston, for it's Brooklyn, all right? And I never wear Boston in my life. Anyway, I am so Brooklyn. I even got shoes that say Brooklyn where you at. All right, bro. Come on now. Where Brooklyn at? All right, I'm a Brooklynite to the core. Yeah, Dave's like, oh my God. Yeah. Hey, the other Al took over Chicago and he was from Brooklyn.
Hey, so we don't halfway do nothing. You can't be from Chicago and halfway do nothing. We don't halfway nothing.
Hey.
So
that's why it's my man right there. Yo, please check out his project. You see the link there for ink.pub/Z-Normals is also there. Kickstarter projects, David Taylor, the Z-Normals issue #1. Guess what? It's also in the notes show notes, so click away. You please follow my homie on Instagram too. I'm telling you, I love checking out his social. Check him out on Instagram at DT, the numero 2 author. All right. And then, of course, check out that website in case you missed anything. And if you did, shame on you. This is one of the most amazing creators on the East Coast out here from Chi-Town, baby. All right, so check him out. David Taylor, numero2.net. Check him out, brother. Yo, Dave, I'm excited for you. I can't wait till tonight to see the launch, see what pops off. This better get done in one day, and then get all those extra goodies coming out. Because I'm pretty sure you're gonna hook it up and got some good stuff. From Chi-Town, you got flavor. Y'all gonna hook up the fans, baby. So this is how you do. It's the Z-Normals, folks. Again, that ask the question. Hey, what a great question! What if you could turn pain into powers? What if you had pain? What would your powers be? How would you turn it? How would you manifest it? Well, it'll be like these guys. There's only one way to know. You got to support the project tonight when it drops. Yo, Dave, thank you so much. Thank you to all you Crusaders that were tuning in. All of you, I appreciate you. All over X and Twitch, and there you go, YouTube. Facebookers, y'all working. You better tune in later. No excuse. All right. I just dropped. Everybody but Facebook is watching. All the other platforms rock. So much love. I'm Al Mega with the amazing David Taylor, numero 2, baby. Fellow Comic Crusader. We are Crusaders. All of us. Hasta la próxima. Wepa!
Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at comiccrusadersworld.com. And also make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Play Store today.